You are truly the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are truly the best.
This is Anson's last day. He actually works for me, as you can tell. All right, but now, just a quick one. Someone asked me this morning, can I speak French? And the person who asked me, I looked at them and said, what do you mean, can I speak French? I'm from Australia. I can barely speak English. So I apologize for everybody. Any Australians in the room? Because I'm going to offend a lot of them. There you go. I know. I got you first. All right. Oh, can we get... Oh, he's doing that now. But one of the things I want to do, and I've got half an hour to do it, is to wake everybody up. Now, when I looked at the slide up there, everybody says, we're okay. Even in our profession, we're okay. Don't worry about it. I want to give you an example for a large institution, doesn't matter which one, here in Hong Kong, we're working with right now. Okay, 5,000 people. We replaced 5,000 people with 400 with technology, AI, and cognitive. And how much do you think it's worth? I'm going to make you work. How much do you think that technology was worth? 200,000 US. If you think what I'm about to tell you is a game, it's not. Everybody heard of Stephen Hawking? Very pessimistic, says the AI and cognitive and what we're about to walk into is the existential question. See, as you can see, I can't even pronounce that word. A question of humanity. Now, I don't believe the very pessimistic view. I actually believe what we're about to walk into is a time where we connect, you get everybody globally connected. You can wipe out poverty and what we're about to talk about. But it ain't going to be the way it's going to be from before. We mentioned Kodak. This is not a Kodak moment. Kodak gets used, but that's one corporate. This is many more corporates. So let me share with you. Now, you see that nice slide? Do you know the Sistine Chapel? I use this now more and more talks in my talks. This is what we're about to hand over to. The speed of change that we're now seeing is faster and faster all the time. I have here in Hong Kong, there is a small healthcare startup, very small. We pitted them against radiologists. In 2 weeks, it could actually read millions of x-rays and predict with you, 2 weeks, machine language learning, at 95, 96%. Do you know what most human beings, radiologists, can do? 82. In another 2 weeks, it's now predicting what is actually wrong with you. Don't think what I'm talking about, and I want everyone, I can see everyone's face, is this guy nuts? No, this is our world we're walking into. Now, I am a senior partner at KPMG, a senior board member too as well. My number one goal, and I know you all probably agree with me, we're going to get rid of auditors. Okay? By robots. It's coming. Because anything that you do routine and your paper shuffling, it's done. And by the way, in sourcing, I have a 30-year career this year. In sourcing, we still love the paper. Anyone not dealing with paper in this room? There's got to be one of you. Okay, there we are. We're coming after you. All right. You won't be able to read it down the back. I apologize. We're actually now massive pain points right across the globe. Interesting that most people think we're all connected. 45%. Really? We are still very fragmented. Our supply chains are still fragmented. And the only way we can solve it is not with more people. It's technology. And that technology, there's startups, fintechs, everybody racing to try to crack what millions of people just can't do. We can't do it. We're never going to solve that problem. Okay? Look on this side, every bit. But I want to get to the heart of the matter. Now, this is important. Greg So, I really believe in what Greg So has. He is a very passionate man. I've heard him speak many times and working with our firm. But one of the things that we do, this is 800 executives around the world, and you have to be aware of this. The world is changing. Look at the number one city. A report just released. We just had massive press across the globe, here in Hong Kong, all over China. Number one is Shanghai. By the way, this is perception. It doesn't mean reality, right? It's perception. Okay? Half-half. Half ASPAC executives and half Europe and US. First time we've had more Asian executives pick. And remember, on this side of the world, we're doing more and more on technology than anyone else. Look at that. And I keep getting every time, because I'm one of the global writers of this report, every time, we've been doing it for 8 years, do you know which country keeps ringing me and saying, when are we going to get on the top list? Anyone want to guess? No, Israel's up there. It's usually up there. Which country? For the 2 Aussies in the room, sorry guys. Australia, that's why I'm Chinese. Australia's getting old and dying. It's okay, that's the population. No, listen up, this is important. What you're racing is demographics, and don't think just because China's getting old. China is spending more in AI and cognitive than Europe and the US put together, 1.3 billion people. This is a race. It's a race, and be aware of that race. Take a look at Chicago, take a look at Tel Aviv. Israel constantly gets in the top 10. For a small country, this is not about scale anymore. This is about who can do it, focus, educated workforce. I was recently in South Africa. Anyone from South Africa? Okay. And I spoke to the ministers there, same. He goes, we want to play the game. And I said, you're not going to play the game unless you educate your workforce. They have the same literacy rate as India. India has to work harder. And I'm a massive fan of India. It has to work harder. You must educate your workforce if you're going to play in this future game. This is the good thing, as Greg said, for Hong Kong. But there's a lot more things we need to do. All right. Does everybody know what this term means? Experience economy. And let me look at this room. You're all baby boomers, Generation X. I'm Generation X. From 1960 onwards, put up your hand. Before 1960, Anson, put up your hand. I've got to do a lot because I know what he's going to do this afternoon about me. I've got to do it. Payback. But the experience economy, we want experiences. I'm just working with a financial institution now. They're not interested where they have a mortgage. They're not. It's over. They want an experience. You've got to help me get a house because I want a family. Help me. Anyone who does that, that's what you're going to do. Help me. Okay? Look at that consumption, trillions of dollars in Asia. We in Asia, and I keep saying this. Right, put up the Brits, put up your hand. Right, how many mobile phones per person do you think there are in Britain? How many? Good hand. Hey, good call. One. Well done. Gee, good call. I know you kept heading your hand up. One. How many do you think are in Hong Kong? No, we keep doing the study all the time. How many in Hong Kong? 3 to 4. Shanghai. Mobile devices in Shanghai. Come on. Nope, 7 to 8. It's easy. Does anybody know why? You have your work phone. You have your family phone. Girlfriend number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anson's got 10 devices. But why I'm saying that is that we love the technology and people, and I've just talked to some folks this morning before we started, where we're going with technology, we're racing so much, and this is affecting the supply chain too as well, that we love technology so much, consumer loves it so much, we all want it, that when you go to London, when you go to New York, which I'm in New York almost every quarter, it feels like third world countries. We are spending more in Asia on mobile payments than anywhere else on the planet. Okay? This is what's happening on this side of the world, and you have to understand it. So you're going to have a very tech-savvy world. Thibaut and I, the next speaker, we're just talking about it. Now you can use your mobile phone to pay a taxi in Shanghai. You can do it anywhere in China. You can't even use your Octopus card yet in Hong Kong. And by the way, in New York, you barely can get it in a cab now, right? So what I'm saying is the world's changing fast. It's not the same paradigm that we've had before. And remember what I said, China is spending on AI and cognitive double of what Europe and the US put together. This is a race. Not a competition, but a race. Take a look at the new technologies. Everybody heard of the Internet of Things? Everything gets connected. Tibo and I were talking about, he said, Anson's everywhere. And I said, yeah, as his boss, it's very hard to track him. I'm going to put a chip in him. Not his phone, because he turns his phone off and he knows the technology, but I can track everything. As soon as I went, all of it, you guys all know, this is where we're moving towards. Everything. And this is a reality. It's getting more and more. And by the way, we in Asia, we like spending on this stuff. Okay? Artificial intelligence, AI. I'll talk more a little bit about moments. Anybody heard of blockchain? Okay, if you haven't heard about it, this is the new technology that's going to hit sourcing. This was all that money, virtual money. Don't worry about that stuff. That's not the key. It's the blockchain technology. Down, I'm not going to get technical, down to the data element, I can trust. I trust it's you, it's trust. And guess what? Forget about the paper. We are now looking at accounting ledgers into blockchain. Everybody sharing. We're going to do things very differently. Okay, robotics, it's coming. Interesting again, China spending more on robotics. If you read our tech report that was released last week, more on robotics, which is interesting, 1.3 billion people, more on robotics than the US. At the moment, the US is leading by the implementation. Okay? How Mr. Trump is going to bring manufacturing jobs when they're going to robotics at 1,000 miles an hour, I don't know how. And given it's only almost 10% of the economy in the US. And virtual reality, which as yet, the first virtual mall that I saw was 10 years ago. And everybody know what an avatar is? Okay? You never looked like that avatar 10 years ago. It was clunky, it was horrible. It's getting better, but I'm still not going to buy virtual reality. Now, you're going to hate this. Who's the retailers in the room? Put up your hand. I am not a person who will want to walk in a store. It's my worst nightmare. I buy everything, at 53 years, everything via the internet, except my suit. And maybe you say you should, but it doesn't matter. Right? But everything. Because all our analytics, when we talk about big data, you're all assuming that if I'm over the age of 50, I come into a store. That's what your analytics are so crap and rubbish that you don't realize me. We're moving to an age with all this new technology that you're now going to focus on me. How did I buy? Me personally, not a block of people. That's why we're making mistakes. I see a lot of corporates come and ask us, we're not making enough money. He says, who's making money? Over here, there's another economy making a stack load of money. Don't assume the economy is tough. There's new economies that are starting to be created using the tech. Have a look at this, 3D printing. 10 homes, this is the prediction at our tech report. They're already building medical devices. We're going to have our first heart printed. First liver, it's all coming. And by the way, don't assume it's not there. I've seen the tech. This is one thing I like about my job is I see the stuff that's coming. Some at 10 years away, we're not ready for it. We're socially not ready for it. Would you have a heart that's been 3D printed? Yes or no? Put up your hand. Yes. Do you know why? And you know why I say you should? If you've got no other heart transplant because we can't find them enough hearts, why wouldn't you try it? I had a lady who was very upset with me and saying, what, are you joking? There's now an app that actually can look at a mole and say if it's malignant or not. She said, that's an invasion of my privacy. And I said, listen, even if it's 90% wrong and it gave you the answer malignant and you went to check the doctor and it wasn't, that saved a life. What about if it was right? And I've tested the government many times. Privacy. Privacy is not what people want. It's not even at the top of the list of consumers. They only want privacy if they get hurt. What they want is they want lives saved. This is a whole shift in mindset that we've got to have. Everything that we do is a mindset change. Look at our trends today. The power is in the hands of the consumer. It's not in the organizations. Those of you, and I know Anson made a bit of a joke about it, Brexit, that is not a discussion about people wanting to leave Europe. That is a discussion that people are not being seen and felt inside. They're being feeling disenfranchised. And as we move towards more and more tech, you've got to understand that feeling, what people want. People want about themselves. It's not about massive group behavior. Where I see a lot of analytics, I'm sitting there going, there's the analytics, over 50-year-olds, you think we behave like that. We don't. Who are the biggest spenders on the internet in China? Anybody want to guess? It's actually at two groups, the very young and the very old. But everyone thought with the analytics, it's all they're very young. Really? Look at the real statistics, get behind it, analyze the data, and you'll find they're also spending too as well. You'll miss vast amounts of the economy if you're not getting the tailored stuff. Influence marketing, people who actually make trends. And a report that Thibaut and I did, I think last year or the year before, and we do it every year, about 10,000 consumers, there was one young lady who could influence fashion, 43 million followers in China. Can you imagine you're the retailer? She loves blue dresses, what happens? You've got red dresses, and everybody comes in for blue because 43 million people want to buy a blue dress. Thank God for 3D printing. I can print the blue dress in my store immediately. Maybe the future. The analytics are convenience. Look at this. Here's the infrastructure. This all plays to as well. As infrastructure grows and gets improved in China, now you're going to have everything coming together and converging. This is what's happening. And by the way, note the 120 million people who don't want to leave China but are tourists. Financial institutions in China are not setting up to catch the Westerners. They're after the 120 million who live overseas, who travel. That's what they're after. Look at the game plans. Look at the high net wealth individuals, ultra high. An upper class now, 54%. More and more, hitting our economy, global economy. And they want everything. Look at WeChat. Put up your hand. Who's got WhatsApp? Yeah, this is very Hong Kong now. Okay. Who's got WeChat? Hey, this is the best audience. I had a group of accountants who all had WhatsApp because they're boring. Now, do you know that WeChat, by constant changing, I use them as a wonderful example, constantly changing consumer demand, they are now the payments engine of China. The whole banking system has changed to WeChat. WhatsApp didn't change. I use them as an example, although I did have one guy from WhatsApp, you can't say that, and I said, yes, I can. I'm an independent thinker. WhatsApp stayed the same. I want to do video. No, that's what you get. I want to do, no. I want to do, but no. What do WeChat do? Whatever you want. Whatever you want. And by the way, 40 million people, they make a lot of money. Is anybody who's on WeChat when they send you and saying, if you're for 2 yuan, it doesn't matter, 20 yuan, buy a sticker. You know the sticker, the emoji? They only need 40 million people to make a lot of money. You're capturing that audience there and then. Okay? And the power of their analytics. Look at the number of smartphones and getting higher. Look at the spend, the internet users now. More and more. And more spending by Alipay. Apple Pay is now chasing Alipay. They're not the front anymore. Okay? Look at active in e-commerce, more and more. Look at the average spend now in 2015. We're about to do our next report on 16. Same thing, the spend's going up higher and higher. That's more than any user in the US. And I want to do this study across Asia because you can see it. You can see people doing it here too as well. It's the same. Here's the connected consumer on everything. That's me. but you miss me in the bulk statistics. And by the way, talk to any of my partners in my firm, they're all like that. Are you all like that? Put up your hand if you're like that. Wow. How many consumers did I just say who are like that? You have to immerse yourself. And by the way, it was an audience of bankers, the same thing. And what do people want in their banking? Anybody want to guess how they want to do their banking? In Hong Kong, we're way behind. You could have seen it in the press just trying to post. I had every banker I know in town attacking me going, you're not serious. And I went, you've got to talk the facts. Everybody wants to do it via mobile. And what are we getting? We have to go into a branch to fill in a form. Are you excited about it? Now think about your consumers, what they want. And by the way, the guys in New York, they're doing the same thing. I was in my favorite store in New York, Converse. Anybody from Converse? No, that's the coolest shoes you can wear. I'm a cool partner, okay, Converse. I was walking into the Converse flagship store in New York. Walking out was a guy, smacked straight into me, looking at his phone. And I said, what are you doing? By the way, this guy had a really hip accent, New York accent. I won't do it, I can't do it. But he said, I'm buying some shoes. And I said, what are you talking about? The shoes are in the store. And he said, no. I look in the store, and I'm now buying it. Here, this is a good, don't go in there. Here, look at the shoes. And the shoes I wanted were half the price. And by the way, everyone thought the only Chinese did that. No, that disease is going around the world. Everyone's now doing it. And remember, I'm your worst nightmare because I'm one of the old guys who doesn't want to walk into a store. My daughters love it, 17, 14-year-old, they love it. They love spending dad's money. But that's okay. That's why I'm going to work till I'm 80. Look at this man, and I want you to understand this man. He's revolutionizing the planet. I'm a massive admirer. Doesn't matter where they end up and doing well or not, look at what he's doing because of tech. He's getting into insurance. He's getting into banking. He's getting into everything. Alipay. He's doing everything. And people would think he's mad. He's not. He's a visionary. You know why? Because all of it's been digitized. He's catching what the consumer wants. If you miss this, and do the research. Don't listen to a bunch of consultants like me. Do the research. Look at how you're going to be disintermediated. This is happening now. I know when people go, I'm not into this stuff, but they're all beholden now to Alibaba to get products out. You've had to change. The careful about change is if you don't start looking at it, you end up being controlled by it. Let's do it on time. Here we go. Look at the spend. Online spending. By the way, I remember when I first put up the chart, I think Anson will remember, when I first moved to Hong Kong 9 years ago, I said China's coming, and people looked at the stats and it was about 10%. And they all thought I was mad. Look at it now. And I'm not some great predictor, I'm not. I don't believe in that stuff. You just have to look at the population. As they catch on, what happens? It's now surpassed. I was in the US 2 months ago when they said, don't worry, we're coming back. And I said, how? How? You don't have the population for it. This is population. This is demographics now starting to play. Anybody study economics? This is basic economics. You don't have to be a predictor of China to not see what the numbers are doing. The numbers are this way because of the population. Right? And you're going to see, and I really believe it. I was in India about 3 months ago. I really believe India is going to catch on. As the smartphones start picking up, as they start focusing on their economy, you watch India do the same. You're going to have 2 mega countries leading and influencing the whole sourcing of the planet. That's why many of you are here, because you know China's important. Wait till you get to India as they come onto the same one. And they'll be bigger than China soon with 1.4 billion people. The stats in Europe and elsewhere, not. Look at this, millennials, what do they want to focus on? Loyalty, one-on-one engagement. They want personal experience. And by the way, personal experience for them, like my 17 and 14-year-old, do you know what personal experience is for them? talking to their friends on a mobile phone. That's what we got at the moment. Who's got kids in the room? Yep. Does anybody talk to you anymore? I had my 7-year-old, she was 14 at the time. I walked in at home after a day's work on Saturday because I got to work every day. Because Anson doesn't work, I got to do all the work. But literally, I walked in, and there was 5 of her friends. They're all on their phones. I went, And I said, Tilly, what are you doing? They're actually SMSing each other. They're all in the same freaking room. And I'm going, you've got to be kidding me. They're going, Dad, really? You're not cool. No, that was cool. All right, look at this. Prime spending years, right? Here's a Millennium Want It. 78% want to pay for experience. Experience. And I'm going to get myself in trouble because I know we're being videotaped. Is banking and experience in Hong Kong. Okay, you had one. Okay, this is what I mean. Look at this, attention span, the goldfish. That's the attention span we've got now. And there's enough studies. People dismiss these studies. Oh, no, that doesn't count. No, it does. That's the attention span we're moving towards. Schools are facing this. So you've got to get them quick, like that. Now, everybody dismissed Amazon. I remember, and by the way, they're my good friends at Amazon. By the way, I spoke about Amazon around the world. I never used them. I never used them. I didn't want to use them. The reason why? Because I love bookstores. I'm a voracious reader. Even though I'm talking about digital, I love the smell of books. I always have. I come from a poor migrant background, and the only thing we had in our household I was allowed to buy is books. And I love them. I love them. And then I come to Hong Kong. Any booksellers in the room? You're crap. Singaporean La has better bookstores than Hong Kong. Malaysia has better bookstores than Hong Kong. I can get any book in Malaysia, and it's a Muslim country, in Kuala Lumpur. So what do? I go into Amazon. Now what do I do? And I know the guys at Amazon don't let me say it. We're very close alliance partners, but I keep saying it. I'm now an Amazon Kindle thief. And what does that mean? I walk into a bookstore. That's really cool. It's too heavy. Look around, write the name, or take a photo, walk out the store, and I download it on my Kindle for half the price. And people go, no, don't say things like that. It's fact. Okay? And now, what's Amazon doing? Does everybody know what Amazon's doing? What's Amazon doing now? In Seattle, what have they opened? The coolest store on the planet. Now I will go in that store. Do you know why? Just my mobile phone, click, 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 and I don't have to pay. Well, I do, but I walk out with my goods. Done. Done. That is an experience. And by the way, guess what you don't see? And every Aussie male I know hates them. And you keep putting them in front of us. Who are they? The person who works in the retail store comes up, can I help you, ma'am? Can I help you, madam? Right? No, I'm not a madam, but, right? I don't have to do that in that store. You're now tailoring to this 53-year-old. You dissed it, they came back. I know Tibor is probably going to touch on it. There we are, Goes To store. Do look up the web. Look at this. Note, look at the US. In 5 days. Oh, sorry, go back. That number. 5 days. Look at, I actually predicted, and I've quoted in the press, I thought Jack and the team were going to do 15 billion. They beat it. Every year he beats my estimates. I'm getting tired of him being, he's a visionary, I'm not. I always try to quote what I'm going to do this year. Look out in the press, I always quote a number, and he beats it every time. Okay? It's a signal of what the changing economy. Look at this. Expansion. They're taking the supply chain. If you don't do it, they will. And by the way, Amazon's doing the same thing. Our world is changing. Look at that. Oh, now we've got IoT. Anywhere I can buy. I like that stuff. I can buy anywhere. Anywhere. I listen to a music in a nightclub. What do? Bang, I bought the music. And I used to love my H&V store because what did they have? You think it's records. Nope, they had books. I'm a book nut. Now what do? They put the books smaller and smaller. It's okay, I don't walk into the store anymore. All right? This is now what people are fighting. This is the battle. This is the battle. And by the way, the word privacy doesn't appear anywhere. We're like fish. We don't care about privacy unless we get attacked. And by the way, that's what I keep saying. The law has to protect people when they're attacked. Who's got a Facebook account? Put up your hand. Right. No one from Facebook? I am not a user on Facebook, never have been. And I've told my wife I'm never going to share photos of half-eaten food to my friends. You're not my friend if you send me a half-eaten plate. So one of my partners sent me a boneless fish. And I said, what are you sending me that picture for? He said, we didn't like half-eaten. I wanted to show you that I've eaten the whole fish. Now, let me tell you something. I'm not on Facebook. And I told folks in the government, wait a minute. My wife told me I'm on everyone's photo. Who gave you permission to put me in Facebook in group photos? And by the way, when we do investigations, you know the people get in trouble? It's not the people in the photo, in the front of the photo. It's inebriated ones in the back who've told their boss they're at work. This is fact. This is where we do our investigation. This you have to look very carefully. Privacy is not what we care about. We have our WeWorks lab. We're doing the same thing. We're changing as a firm. Less people than before. Look at this rise of platform. Anybody been in a taxi driving? Look at how Hong Kong is also changing. Every taxi driver has at least 10 devices. And I know when Apple's going to release their new one because they got it first. I hate them. They got it first. And they got the first Samsung. These guys are connected. They're connected. More and more, we're doing it all the time. Algorithms are eating every professional. I can tell what you buy, and I can predict what you're going to buy next. We had one client, a retail store. Men would buy these particular items. It could be a hairbrush. It could be, a jacket, a tie, and you always know, you just put it there, they will buy red bras. You say, well, how do you know? They all clicked on it. I can predict what you're thinking, where you're going to go next. And don't think that this can't happen. It's happening now. That's why Siri is getting better. That's why the Google Maps is getting better, because they're aiming to help you, right? And make money too as well. There's Ross, your digital assistant. It'll help you in everything. You've heard of IBM Watson? Same, all coming this way. They're all here to help you. They're here to help you. This is our changing landscape. To be blunt, and I've only got one or two more slides, to be blunt, we'll never replace Anson. Because he is handsome, as Greg so said. Anson, you're going to be up there next year, my friend. This is where we're going, machine language and stuff. Has anybody played that game that you swore that I was going to kill anybody who bumped into me again when they're chasing those monsters? You have no idea what that actually means. And I like looking at sociology as well. You know what it's preparing us for? It's preparing for us to bring augmented reality to ourselves. We're going to move down that path. The new glasses that are coming from Apple and Google coming together, it's coming that way. The way you look, you see, it's all coming. It's preparing our society for this stuff. And by the way, when you're in here, in 5 years' time, he said, there was that long-haired partner from KPMG, he was talking crap. Let me tell you, we're all going to be doing it. I remember when the first mobile phone, and that was, how long ago does everyone think a mobile phone? Do you remember the brick? And they'll walk into a lift and they'll be talking very loud on that brick. What was everybody else saying? Because we're herd mentality. What was everyone saying? What an absolute clown. I would never do that. And while I've been speaking, there's a guy right there using his phone. There's another one over there. There's another one over there. You're all on it. And by the way, you're the same people, because I do the same. You tell your kids, get off the phone. But you have to answer that one more email. Note, that's less than 15 years. We forget. This is what's coming our way. Games are preparing us for that augmented world. Let me jump to one last slide I want to show, and then I'm going to hand it over. There's more. Anson picked this slide, and he said, maybe I should remove it. And I went, no, keep it. What I love about many organizations, the way they plan. You know what you plan? You plan on what you know today. You should be planning scenarios of disruption, because it's the only way to survive. Don't plan the same thing. And when you sit there doing your budgets through spreadsheets and saying, we're just going to grow another 10% because that's what the boss wants, just be careful you're not going to be swiped by somebody else. And we're already starting to see it. I'll go back to what I said before. A $200,000 technology got it down to 400 people from 5,000. There's more and more of that coming. Thank you very much. Thank you.